Hey guys, what's going on? So today I want to bust some high school myths with you guys. So some of you may have been told before you entered high school about some things that were supposedly done to freshmen when you enter high school. And if you weren't told any of those things, you are lucky, because some people in the grade above me in middle school used to tell me some of these things just to like scare us before we entered high school, and I didn't believe them, honestly. It sounded kind of ridiculous to me. But if you guys do believe in some of these myths, or were told some of these myths, I am going to bust them for you. Okay, so the first one, and one that I was told before I entered high school, was something called Freshman Friday. Now apparently Freshman Friday is this random Friday that the seniors select in order to dump freshmen in trash cans, or put their heads in the toilet, or throw them in the lockers, you know, any of those things. And honestly, that just doesn't happen. I know a few people a few grades above me who went into high school believing these things, and on Friday, sometimes they were scared that it was gonna be some random Friday where the seniors would start jumping on them, attacking them. But seriously, that does not happen in high school. And honestly, they're just trying to scare you. This next myth is when people say that high school is going to be the best 4 years of your life. No, it's not. It really is not. Honestly, college is way better. I feel like the only people that say that to you are the people who, in a sense, like peaked in high school. Like they were probably like the most popular, they had a lot of friends, everybody loved them kind of thing. So they think that high school is the best 4 years of their life because they were known around high school. And then when they went to college, or if they didn't go to college, then they just weren't known anymore. I guess that's when people say that high school was the best 4 years of their life. But honestly, it's not. It really is not. Like, it's not. So the third myth that we're going to bust is that freshmen are always the ones that are going to be bullied. That is not true, and if you believe that, it's not true. You're not going to be bullied just because you are a freshman. And yeah, people don't make fun of you for being a freshman. They were all freshmen before, so they don't really make fun of you. I will say though, that after you are a freshman, you can tell the next year who is the incoming freshman. I was so easily able to tell who was a freshman and who wasn't, just based on the way that they look, at least for the most part. I mean, some people, you know, they're the exception, but freshmen look like freshmen. And I mean, I probably look like a freshman when I was a freshman. And then as you get to like junior and senior level, like you can easily spot out a freshman. But like that's all you really do is just like say, oh, that's a freshman. Like nobody who's a junior or a senior just goes out to make fun of a freshman just because. Like that really doesn't happen. The fourth myth that we're going to bust is that being popular is extremely important. It is not important. And I know that people in my middle school were extremely like obsessed with becoming popular in my middle school. And I went to a middle school that had like less than 20 kids in that middle school, and for some reason they thought that being popular in that middle school was extremely important. So when they got to high school, I'm sure they thought it was even more important. I don't know. Literally, it makes no difference, because when you're out of high school, it's over. Like you're no longer popular. Like you get all that fame to be on the top and then you just drop. Like, I don't know, I guess you're kind of setting yourself up for like getting your hopes crushed. I don't know what the point is in trying to become popular in high school. I honestly don't get it. But being popular is not important. You do not need to be popular in order to succeed in high school. And that's honestly, if you're just a good student, you will succeed. The popularity is not really anything that helps you in high school. So the fifth myth that we're going to bust is that popular girls are mean girls. And that is just not the case. But while I don't believe that they are necessarily mean girls, I mean, I have seen some girls within the popular group like be mean to each other, not to like outsiders, just like within their group. Popular girls are usually just fake, from what I've experienced. And I went to a high school with almost 3,000 students, so I could kind of pick out who was the popular group. And they had so much drama within their group. It was crazy. And then people left that group. I don't know. It seemed like a whole big mess. And it's like, why is it even a group? Why are they even like popular? But no, honestly, popular girls are usually fake girls, and the fake girls can be mean to people like within their group, but they're usually not mean to people outside of their group. Honestly, popular girls really aren't mean girls. They're generally nice to people who are outside of their group. They're just fake. Like they're fake nice. Like they be nice to get what they want. So instrumental kind of nice. Okay, so the sixth myth that we're going to bust is there are those high school stereotypical groups that sit with each other in the cafeteria. So the jocks sit with the jocks, the goths sit with the goths, the nerds sit with the nerds, and the populars sit with the populars, and you know what I mean. That is not really true. It's kind of true, but it's not really true. So what happens is when I went to the cafeteria, I could see who was the popular group because like you just know who they are by face. So you can see the popular group sitting at their side. They usually didn't claim a table unless like they just constantly sat there. But people fluctuate within that group anyway, so it's not the same exact people always sitting there. And then the goths with the goths and the nerds with the nerds and like stuff like that. Like you honestly can't tell who is a nerd just by looking at someone. Sometimes like the people that you think look like nerds really just aren't nerds. And then the goths with the goths and stuff like that. Like yes, people have like kind of groups in high school, but you kind of tend to label them to whatever you think they are based on like your interaction with them and not necessarily the way that they appear to you. So yes, they kind of sit in their groups, but mainly when you just walk into the cafeteria, it's not like you can see everyone in their groups. It just looks like a whole bunch of people sitting in a cafeteria, and if you were there on your first day of school, you would not know who was the popular group, who was the jocks, who was the goths. Like you wouldn't know any of that stuff. Okay, so the seventh myth that we're going to bust is that in order to be accepted, you have to be wearing the latest trends. I don't know why TV kind of makes it like, oh, you have to wear like the latest trends, everybody has to look Gucci all the time, you know? Like no, that's not how it is. Honestly, I did not care what the heck I wore for high school, and especially when they changed like the uniform policy, because like after my sophomore year they started like making this change that you have to wear uniforms now and you can only wear like 2 or 3 certain colors. I was like, you know what, I don't give a crap what I wear. I literally just wore like the same outfit. Like I rotated 2 outfits every day. Like I would just rotate that. And honestly, like if you want to look good for high school, you do you. Look good for high school. That is totally fine. I just didn't care. And honestly, nobody really cares what you wear. I've seen girls full out dressed up in heels and everything all day to school. Nobody cares. You see a person completely dressed down wearing like clothes that look like they haven't been washed or whatever. Nobody cares. Okay, so the 8th myth is that being a club member is nerdy. Obviously, that is not true, because you need to join clubs, or at least one club, you know, in high school to get a leg up on college admissions. They just see it a lot better that you have been participating in a club and that you are like active in your high school, and so joining a club just isn't nerdy. I mean, there are some clubs that seem nerdy, like maybe you have like a math club or like a chess club or like some kind of like science club where you go and do those like brain bowl kind of things. But yeah, those can seem nerdy, but really they're not nerdy. And if you are in those clubs, people just don't really care. And if people say nerd, it's usually just because they're joking with you. Like honestly, no one cares. In high school, literally no one cares about anything. So yeah, being in a club does not make you a nerd by any means, and I'm sure there's some fun clubs that you can join that obviously doesn't make you a nerd for joining them. Okay, so the last myth is that there are always these gangs of kids smoking or drinking or doing drugs in the bathroom. Now, I went to a school with like 3,000 students, so that was a lot of students. Yeah. So quite oftentimes the bathroom was full or there was a line and stuff like that. And then, you know, there were some people that skipped class to go to the bathroom. And yes, there were times where you could literally smell the weed that they were smoking through the vents into your classroom. That happened to me like several times while I was in class. You could smell it. The whole class started smelling like weed. So it's not that there's like a whole group. Usually it's not a group because then that's just too obvious. So what happens is usually it's like 1 kid, 2 kids, maybe even 3 kids that are like in the bathroom doing drugs or smoking or drinking. Usually it's not drinking, usually it's smoking. It's just a couple kids, and usually they like keep to themselves. There's this big stall in the bathroom where the lock didn't work, and usually that's where all of those kind of kids hang out. You could just see a bunch of feet in there and you know what's going on. But yeah, there's usually not a whole gang just because it's so obvious, and then the deans will catch you, and you know. And usually kids just walk off campus to do those things. So like they're not even in school. So yeah, as long as like you don't hang out with that crowd, or you know the right times to go to the bathroom, like you will not even interact with those kind of people. Also, I know in my high school there was like this one kid or maybe two kids that they would like give tattoos to people. What they would do is like they would take like ink from a pen and like put it with like a needle, and as soon as they like start stabbing them with it, they would like put the pen ink in there, and like they would used to give each other like homemade tattoos in the bathroom, which was so weird. Eventually they got busted for it though. But oh, and then they'd also give them piercings in the bathroom. People would give each other like piercings because someone's parent didn't want them to get piercings, so they decided, oh, I'm gonna get piercings from the school bathroom then. Guys, don't do that. Just don't do that. That is just ridiculous, and you're most likely going to end up with an infection anyway, so like don't do it. But anyway guys, that's all the myths for today. If you guys were told any myths before you entered high school, let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye guys. Okay. I clap my hands. I always do this. Nobody Google. No. So the fourth myth that we're going to bust. Missed? What? So the seventh myth. I keep on messing it up. Okay, so the eighth myth. Why? The eighth myth. I can't. Why? What else did I want to say? My house. Blah, blah, blah. I don't like what I did there.